What happens if you leave 100 players in a confined space for a week? This is the story of a journey from Stone Age Aborigines to an ancient civilization that embraced Christianity. Very small world. Traveling from one corner to another took less than a minute. Newcomers spawned in a desert, a stone's throw away from a dead hill, at the edge of a forest, and in jungles with welcoming parrots. What else is missing for a blissful coexistence? Of course, elegant statues. And it was with their construction that the most interesting things began. In chats, they divided territories, planned majestic constructions, and world domination. All while quietly looting. But then a mad pyromaniac with a lighter appeared. In an instant, a fifth of the trees were burned down. And only the rain saved the rest. In the desert, small squads had already formed, heading into the mines to make a name for themselves later. Those who weren't picked settled near the spawn. They welcomed anyone with a microphone into their ranks and took out their resentment on others. Eventually, the Hermits became the largest clan in the cube, with more than 20 members. They had parties and carelessly had fun without worrying about the future. Some managed to escape from them. One of those was Krusty. He had already crafted iron armor and was preparing to take revenge for the humiliations. Someone occupied the dead hill and the forest edge with the intention of building a castle on bones. They destroyed and plundered anyone who dared to come close. Meanwhile, the miners had acquired diamond armor, not without the help of cheats. Those using such shortcuts were quickly dealt with. Gnome stood out in particular. He used a full set of cheats, created several accounts, almost accessed my admin account, and managed to go beyond the cube's boundary to leave his mark. Rusty Rider was also spotted using cheats, but upon being caught, he repented and promised to build a giant cross to atone for his actions. Despite their numerical advantage, the Hermits' only weapon was still a wooden axe. It was decided to rob the rich. They attacked in groups and easily obtained shields and swords. The base expanded. The Hermits demonstrated their strength and increased the already considerable number of enemies. Upon learning about the madness happening on the surface, many miners decided to settle deep underground to avoid risking their loot. Bases were built, developed, and conquered. But 6 brave and armed daredevils emerged onto the surface with one goal: ascending heavens. One was building, others sat on his neck, supervising. Ultimately, it was a neck failure that sent them all tumbling down to earth. The loot was scooped up by Hermits, who were already waiting below. On the second try, they finally managed to settle into the clouds. And it seems that due to the lack of oxygen, they had a new goal. Everything below the clouds must be destroyed. And it could have worked out. The fifth part of the cube was already covered with lava, and within a minute it turned into the first Lavocast. Hermits, noticing the approaching apocalypse, decided to deal with crazy Lavocasters and were already ascending in an elevator with access. But unfriendly guests were already awaited and redirected back down. Building a staircase was not an option, as the castle on the hill had declared war at a very inconvenient time. Guys offended by Hermits gradually became mountain dwellers too. They leveraged high ground advantage, inflicting significant damage and then retreating back to their elevation. Were easily repelled attacks. Hermits were overwhelmed. They lacked an energetic leader who could organize a proper defense. Their base became an easy target for coordinated attacks from all sides, and lava pouring from the sky marked the end of confrontation. Once a mighty clan fell apart. Some joined the Lavocasters, others clan on the mountain, and some remained carefree hermits, though they had to move from their established spots, as it became too dangerous here. And then a miracle happened. The Lavocasters declared themselves the arbiters of harmony and prosperity. Let's turn a blind eye to the destruction of nature and the 4 great walls. The walls are necessary to complicate movement across the cube. With them, the flow of mad anarchies from spawn, destroying everything in their path, will slow down. A large crowd on the ground awaited the opportunity to join the idyllic heavens, but leaders only allowed a select few to ascend. Others, as expected, made their way to the castle, where local inhabitants continued to prey on the weak. However, they did not bother Rusty Rider, an ordinary traveler with an unusual ability to negotiate. His silver tongue attracted followers, And soon he was collecting cobblestone from everyone for a huge cross that he had promised to build earlier. Even though it's anarchy, be kinder. It seemed that a balance had been found in the world. That was until players went to sleep. In the morning, great Lavocasters and the castle were left in ruins. At night, miners, who managed to upgrade to diamond ranks, emerged onto the surface. Under the leadership of the prudent Q1, they were grieving and reveled in others' suffering. Only Rusty Rider managed to stand against them. The Lavocasts served as an excellent shelter for a small wooden church, where Rusty was able to unite the shattered clans. He proclaimed himself the greatest and gave his followers a new purpose, serving the god. Here everyone found something to do. Aimless wanderers were fed and allowed to join the church, reach the bedrock bottom of the sacred well, and you're accepted. The diamonds despised them and launched raids, forcing the church to worry about protection and to deploy patrols. There were plenty of reasons to hate. For example, periodic crusades to spawn forced newcomers to join without much choice, either god or death. Obviously, tensions within the organization grew, and enemies and spies emerged. Q1 managed to murder the priest, sparking a battle. Angry crowd chased after the diamonds. In the end, they cornered and killed Q1's friend. An immediate response followed. He overcame 3 at once and retrieved the lost items. After 35 hours, the cube resembled a dump. Cobblestone, shattered terrain, and bombs aimlessly fighting at spawn. But there were also a dozen mini-bases being stealthily constructed on shift to avoid drawing the attention of diamonds. Workaholics devoted to their god fought desperately, but clumsily. Constant defeats were undermining the church authority. Rusty Rider couldn't take it anymore and vanished. Then ruthless diamonds destroyed farms, looted chests, and burned down buildings. All that remained were ruins and ashes. Great base, but I have to destroy it. The naked peasants were not about to give up. Armed with stone axes, they declared a headhunt and caught the fully armored diamonds off guard, who fled to the top of the world. The hunters built a ladder out of dirt, although it was impossible to corner anyone in the tight space of the heavens. The war led to a harsh division of the cube. Diamonds ruled skies and caves, peasants sized the surface, but they couldn't progress without access to mines. After learning about followers' success, Rusty Rider returned with the determination to restore order and stability in the church community. The Renaissance began. They eliminated flammable wood from building materials and cancelled the crusades.
Йо, это не по-христиански, мужик.
Now they're building the best community. The territory gradually recovered and the cross expanded in size. They built the village, underground farms, and a huge roof that protected them from Lavocasts. Developed laws. They gained an endless stream of new followers who didn't want to live alone. And only the phantoms prevented them from fully enjoying their existence. Suddenly, a naked diamond killed Rusty Rider.
В этом нет ничего страшного, ведь Господь вернул меня, как и обычно, впрочем.
This once again raises concerns about safety. The church still had a lot of haters. Elections for the role of military commander began. Everything was as it should be. Glorious speeches, sweet promises, and brawls. The votes turned out to be almost equal, causing unrest.
Почему выбрали не меня? В чем я хуже? Нужно что-то делать.
Peasants spent the night under cross, praying earnestly that they would live to see the morning. And they did it! The houses got a bit twisted, but now there was an animal farm and a shop. Attempts to break the roof and pour Lavocasts were failed. The only way to reach church was through the main entrance, or one of the many tunnels dug by diamonds. Not everyone was having fun reading the Bible. A group emerged, proclaiming themselves as Alex and Voice, lived on the Lavocasts. Overall, the world became a little more peaceful and greener. The Forgotten Stairs came in handy for populating the Sky Islands. Players managed to evolve and start working on their own projects. The first suffering gives the notion of the pleasure of tormenting another. Nether was revealed. It brought new opportunities. Potion, better armor, and a new home. Some feared the unknown, while others geared up, pushed each other into lava, and built portal traps. Peasants, as expected, were not in a hurry to go to the Nether, but Palmex, one of Diamonds, rushed to join them. He was tired of destruction, so he decided to create. In response to the betrayal, Q1 promised to destroy the charge once again. Wait wasn't long. The charge had rotted from within. The rebels seized an underground farm with its narrow entrance, destroyed food supplies, and then laid siege to the charge. Rusty Rider has vanished once again. He is a good speaker, but not a leader. The charge has fallen once more, this time forever. The end of the charge created a wave of mistrust. An hour ago, inspired peasants stood shoulder to shoulder, creating greatness, and now they fear to come near each other. And it wasn't just for no reason. They were constantly haunted. They had to hide from diamonds in the caves. The underground part of the cube turned into endless catacombs. You could wander for hours through the narrow winding tunnels, never suspecting what might be around the corner. Meanwhile, Q1 built a trap at spawn, made of 4 Lavocasts. New Fox had to break cobblestone with their hands. He managed to get revenge for betrayal and ruin everyone's life. Altar of Reflection. Disappointed with God, they took a strange pastime. The pit. A few players began their digging in silence, soon joined by merrymakers. They dug a chunk for 8 hours straight, a chunk that united the community. But for what? They decided to build a city right in the pit. Chances of survival on the surface were 0. And the communal farm and indentations in walls that became rooms turned out to be a worthy replacement for a charge. Q1 didn't rush to destroy the town. Tired of breaking and killing innocents, he realized happiness wasn't in that, and joined a cheerful group. Together they dreamed about complex mechanisms, an illicit lab, a villager farm, and cute pigs. And only Krusty kept attacking with an axe, entertaining the workers with stone pickaxes. Those who remained in Lavocast constantly engaged in conflicts. Never give up. Two wanderers built a paradise here. After their ordeal in the catacombs, many still moved around crouching. Everyone understood the rule: don't get rich and you won't be bothered. So instead of grinding, they turned the ruins of Lavocasters into a village, restored the charge. Now it's a symbol of resilience in face of adversity. No one destroyed the village, only occasionally built some pranks. Rusty Rider considered the place his own, even though he had no real influence there. But the city in the pit, which was constantly under attack, had to be abandoned. The villagers relocated to the Nether's roof, where you can't reach with just a stone axe. Sadly, there is no water or beds. They barely managed to grow food on dry patches of land. With much effort, they even transferred a zombie villager up there, but a traitor immediately finished him off. There is nothing except for death. Meanwhile, Overworld was being flooded. By hand, Krusty conducted the process, laying on a chair. With such an approach, they achieved little, including a third of the spawn area, then joined the rapidly developing Nether roof. It became a magnet for players. Here, they forgot about disagreements and created the perfect community. Aquanauts spoke about their desire to flood the world of Q1. Inspired by the idea, he brought brains to the project. He built a mechanism capable of submerging a cube underwater in just a few hours. Not everyone liked this idea, but nobody could stop them now. Atlantis. Newcomers spawned on Lavocasts, in caves, or a surviving village, thanks to its ceiling. Bases and caves became more relevant than ever. Rusty Rider finally announced the completion of the cross construction. Extreme conductions in the Nether only brought players closer together. They managed to breed villagers with great effort. Each player equipped themselves with diamond armor. They built an iron farm, a graveyard, and by the end organized a farewell concert attended by everyone. After the concert, Krusty couldn't resist temptation and blew up the stage. Throughout the event, he advocated for detachment from society. He took pride in his solo ventures of powering Lavocasts and trying to harm everyone. Advocating for independence, he failed to realize that he was more dependent on society than anyone else. Not everyone could understand that true happiness lies in coming together to achieve great goals. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new videos.